On next Saturday's Toonami presentation of Primal. Primal, next Saturday at midnight in Toonami on Adult Swim. On the next all-new Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War. You were a fool to imagine that a mere Soul Reaper's Bankai could ever kill the messenger of God!
You've got to be kidding. He's still alive even after I cut his head off? Give me a break, will ya?
Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, The Conflict. Next Saturday at 12:30 a.m. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Well, everyone, it's February 4th of 2026. This podcast is Toonami Therapy, and I don't think there's any news that we haven't discussed already. We already knew that Blue Lock and Tokyo Revengers were starting next week, and that, Blue Exorcist and Mashle were ending. And I just realized we didn't even introduce ourselves. So I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
All right. So basically, all the stuff we just said, we'll be talking about their conclusions, or well, sort of, because Mashle's getting a third season, and Blue Exorcist has a second half of this season that he just kind of stopped before going into.
Mm-hmm.
But since what we do, for at least for the Toonami series we cover, is that we do them in the order they aired, we'll start with Primal episode 23. Well, in this one, Spear decides he really likes this one grasshopper, so he tries to protect it, including from like some mole people. But then I assume that's what they are. That's what everything calls them, the mole people. They don't call them anything in the show because no dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he unfortunately the grasshopper dies, although he does play. I feel like this has to have been an intentional reference to Whack-A-Mole. The way he just uses a spear and just keeps killing them like almost like a Whack-A-Mole thing. And then he finally gets some clothes on. And that's basically the episode.
Yeah, I said that this show got bonus points because it made me care about a grasshopper. so I think that automatically makes it the best episode of this season, which isn't saying much. I thought there was actually like some development that happened in season 2, and like we went backward this season. So, yeah, not the only reference to Whack-A-Mole this week, and certainly a weird episode, but I guess it's passable, so I'll let it go this week.
The problem I've just had with these first 3 episodes is the fact Spear cannot carry the show by himself. I didn't think Spear and Fang were able to like hold the show by themselves in the first season, which is why when Mira got introduced and we had some more stuff going on, I got more interested. But Spear by himself definitely can't. The good news is that the preview showed that Fang is going to be in the next episode, so maybe that'll make things more interesting. Although I feel very dumb, but I'm thinking, what's the other series that had Whack-A-Mole that you're referring to?
You'll find out.
Okay. All right. So After that, we move on to Bleach Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War, episode 35.
Okay, so basically, the sniper guy has been picking them off. So Sunsui goes and he's going to fight him one-on-one. And the other characters want to stay back and help him, which is stupid. But basically, they kind of talk themselves into not doing that. And then Sunsui fights him. And every time Sunsui does something, the guy has something for him, and every time that guy has something for him, then Sunsui has an answer, and they go back and forth for a while. Meanwhile, Ichigo is in the middle of battling, and he's like, "That's Sunsui's spear suppressor." I'm like, when have you ever been around Sunsui? You barely know the guy. I mean, they didn't really ever really spend any time on screen together during the original series. So I don't know how he can be that close to Sunsui. But anyway, they battle, and there's no winner yet, except that Sunsui is coughing up a ton of blood, and but he's not beaten yet. And plus, this gave me a good reminder of how creepy Sunsui is because he hits on his own niece. So, yeah, that's the episode.
Yeah. I guess the big thing we got is we got to see his Bankai, even if I'm not sure if I even understand it.
Mhm.
He said a bunch of Japanese stuff, and that dealt a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we can move on. It was mostly a fun episode, though. I think even
Yeah.
if it is what you describe. Oh, I do this. Like everything you have an answer, and all of your answers I have an answer to. That's kind of most Bleach battles, really, until someone runs out of answers and loses. It reminds me of I can't remember who it was. Maybe they didn't even say it, but some chess player said, let me just see. Let me just see if I can find out exactly how it goes. What was his name? Oh yeah, Tartakovsky. He said, okay, this is just a random website that says it. It might be a wrong quote, but I remember seeing this before. He just said, the winner of the game is a player who makes the next to last mistake. So that was actually, this guy had a lot of good quotes. Screw it, I'm going to read them. I remember he was known for having a bunch of ones like, the blunders are all there on the board, waiting to be made. Tactics is what you do when there is something to do. Strategy is what you do when there is nothing to do.
Mhm.
Some part of a mistake is always correct. And a game of chess has 3 phases. The opening, where you hope to stand better, the middle game, where you think you stand better, and the ending, where you know you stand to lose.
Mhm.
This guy. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, if these quotes are all from him, always be careful about quotes on the internet because a bunch of times they're actually just totally made up. But whoever said them, I think they were witty quotes.
Mhm.
Okay. So, Blue Exorcist episode 61. Well, the end of this arc or the end of this not the end of this season because they just kind of split. It's a little weird, but basically here's what happens. So Rin and the other guys manage to get Yukio out. So Yukio basically tells Rin, oh no, like the Knights of the True Cross, they're actually no better than the Illuminati. And then dumps a whole bunch of big reveals on him I don't know if these reveals are true or not. I think we're supposed to not be sure, but he basically unloads a whole lot of stuff on him, then just leaves. And and shoots Rin also. So
Yeah, that
basically,
too.
yeah. Remember when I said last episode that Yukio, like he went a bit more crazy? Well, now he's gone a lot more crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so after we have all that happen, Reen's trying to figure out what, okay, was this stuff he was saying true? What's going on? Mephisto says, well, you can find out. Turns out time travel is a thing in this series.
Mm-hmm.
So Reen goes on through some door, I think, to, I guess, go to the past and get the backstory and the truth and stuff. And if you want to see that, well, you're either going to have to wait until Toonami brings it back or go watch it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, we won't get to see the conclusion to the season. How many seasons are there? 5?
There's 4. Are you talking about how many curs there are? Because some of the seasons were double cur.
Hers.
Okay, that one is there's actually this doesn't make sense. I'm looking at the number and dividing it. Let me double check on that, because which one seasons were double, and let's see. Okay, the first season was double cur. The second season was single cur. Then another single cur, and then in this one is double cur. So that's a total of 6. Total of 73 episodes.
Okay. So now, is this a series where it's finished once you get to the end, or is it another one of those go read the manga things?
It's a go read the manga ending.
And you're killing me.
In fairness, I mean, it's a popular series, so I'm sure. So we're almost certain that we're going to get, more seasons to continue where the manga is. I don't know how far ahead the manga is. I think the manga is heading to a conclusion, because they recently announced the manga Blue Exorcist was going on hiatus until like June or something, but that this was to prepare for the conclusion. So while admittedly no chapters till June, it seems, or July, something around that time, it at least sounds like it's going towards a conclusion now.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the anime does not reach the end of the manga. Now, I'm going to guess the end of the season probably ends off on less of a cliffhanger than this part, but yeah, it's not going to reach the end of the manga, which itself is still going on, as I said.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's also that weird part where, I mentioned Yukio was going a lot more crazy. Rin kind of started going a bit crazy also, and he fought his inner self or inner demon or whatever, but he wins, and I guess he's back to normal now, mostly. All right. So, we move on to Mashle, episode 24, also ending, this time actually the ending of the season. They're not cutting it off midway through. This is the end of the season. There is, for the record, a third season coming, I think, next year. Anyway, so basically everything gets kind of resolved. Innocent Zero's gone, at least for now, and they're trying to figure out how to beat him. Then Matt. So the first half is mostly just wacky stuff about Mash having to study to pass his exams. Then there's this big crowd that is upset about the fact he doesn't have magic, but but after both Lemon trying to express some support for him and also Mash showing how strong he is to everyone, that I guess brings them around, sort of, and they leave. And yeah, that's basically the end of this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that scene with Mess and the guy who was taunting him was pretty funny. Um,
You,
although
you,
predictable. I mean, it was very predictable what was going to happen there, but um, it was pretty funny. Um, I
yeah,
liked
I
how
was look.
Lemon. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, keep going.
I liked how Lemon had that big passionate response to defend him, and they're kind of like, we don't care at all. And they kept on going at him until Mass turned it back on him. So, yeah, that was a pretty funny scene. And, of course, it doesn't make sense that they would be mad at someone who kind of saved their bacon just a couple episodes ago. But anyway, that's how that goes.
Yeah, the joke where the guy like says something like, "My magic can create thick walls, and even giant monsters are ensnared in." And then when like Mash, starts breaking out of it, you say, "What? You can't do that! It has thick walls, and even giant monsters can be ensnared in." And then Mash gets out and goes, "But it makes walls, and even giant monsters can be ensnared in." The fact he keeps repeating it was really funny. Uh, yeah, that's it. Kind of. I mean, we had some funny bits, but also it kind of at the same time doesn't really. I mean, feel like this season did that much other than I guess introducing Innocent Zero as the main villain. I mean, some other stuff happened, but it just kind of seemed like in a lot of ways we're not that much farther plot wise than we were at the start.
Well, I wouldn't say that was the problem with it. I would say the problem with it is more that it wasn't as good of a show because the first season really depended on the relationships between the characters, and this season uh, kind of put that away and instead went for the whole one-on-one battles thing, and it basically became like any other shonen anime, and it lost its appeal to me because the appeal to me was, okay, you have someone who can't use magic. Now, granted, that isn't a new thing, but okay, he can't use magic, and we have to see how he can survive without using magic. But instead, it's just kind of like brute force against brute force type of thing, um, and let's battle it out and see who's the best and all that stuff. And it kind of lost its way. So basically, what I'm trying to say is the first season was better than the second season. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I do think on the whole that was the case. I mean, although the second season I think was way more popular just because of how the theme song went really mimetic and got super popular, as I noted. So, but I do think, yeah, the big problem I think I have with the series is that when Mash is around, it's usually pretty funny, but the show depends so much on him. Most of the other characters, I always get them mixed up and can't remember who is what. I mean, I remember Lemon because she's basically the only girl in the series, but the other like members of the main cast, I'm just like, okay, one of them has a sister complex. I can't remember which one. I think it's this one. They blur together so much for me is the problem. Okay. But yeah, it was decent on the on the whole still. I guess we'll see if we get season 3 on Toonami, although it hasn't aired yet. All right, that's it. We say goodbye to Blue Exorcist and Mashle for now, at least.
Yeah. And now we've got a show that we've already seen that is going to be on, plus a show that seems to have been done like 15 times before, but we're going to try it again. Basically, go back to the past and correct your mistakes so that bad thing doesn't happen again. I mean, I don't know how many times we can recycle this, and but that's basically what this Tokyo Revengers thing is. Remind me of a show. I can't even remember what the show's name was, but we watched it together. It was about a princess who was
Tear
trying
Moon
to.
Empire?
Yeah, that's kind of what this remind me of. So, yeah, it's not exactly a brand new concept, but um, it's probably shonen, so that's probably why
It's shonen,
they,
yeah.
and that's probably why it's going to be on the air. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it ran in Weekly Shonen Magazine. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of like time warp stuff. This one, the manga premiered before the original Tear Moon Empire web novel did, although I there probably wasn't that much, crossover. I mean, it's just kind of a concept of, going back in time and fixing things. That's just kind of a thing a lot of stuff does. We'll see how this one goes. It does seem like this sort of time warp thing has become more popular since. There's a bunch of series that especially of the anime, especially of I don't know what you call it. No, I don't want to say isekai because we're not talking isekai. It's more where, dang, what do they call it? Is some people I think just call it like Naru series. But Naro, is that how I think it's pronounced Naro? Narou. It refers to this popular Japanese website called something ni Naru. What was its full name again? Oh, Seitsuka ni Naro. That's it. It's where a bunch of stuff people post stuff, and some of them when they get popular get turned into actual light novels and manga and anime. So many series that we've seen date back to that. There's Tear Moon Empire, there's ReZero, there's Ascendance of a Bookworm, there's Shangri-La Frontier, there's The Eminence in Shadow, I'm sure there's some other things there's a bunch of things. A lot of stuff comes from that. And a whole lot of isekai. What was I going? I don't know where I was going. Before I forget though, I wanted to mention one thing. I guess this we still need to get back into to talk about One Piece, but I wanted to mention in terms of the commercials for the series, Tokyo Revengers and Blue Lock. What did you think of them? Because I was thinking didn't think the Blue Lock commercials were that great. I don't think they at all mentioned the elimination aspect of the show, which was such a big part of its initial hook, I thought. It's not just, it sets it apart from just a random, regular sort of sports thing. Because, yeah, you got to compete against these guys, and if you lose, you're out of the whole thing. So I thought that was a more interesting part of it. And I don't think they actually mentioned that at all in the commercials, which I think was kind of not a great choice. What did you think?
Yeah, I don't know how much you can get into 15 seconds, but they didn't really sell Blue Lock as well as they could have. They didn't really sell Tokyo Revengers really good either, because I feel very apathetic about it after seeing that thing. But uh, I guess it might be hard to try to squeeze the whole premise into that little bit of time they had. So I'll give them a pass for this. I think what they're banking on is that a lot of people are familiar with it already, and either that or they want to see something soccer because the Soccer World Cup is coming up later this year. So that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah. Okay, fair. I was just thinking, I thought that it's a little maybe unfair for me to compare them because I've already seen Blue Lock, but the Tokyo Revengers promo, that got my interest a bit. Of course, I went into it knowing absolutely nothing about this series. So outside of a few like scattered thing, I knew time travel was somehow in it, but I didn't know the specifics. But that one at least made it look like it could be interesting. So yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I don't know about the show itself, but it at least got my attention, even if it was only just by telling me what the show is about. Okay, so now we get back into One Piece. One Piece episode 762. Okay, so in this episode, I I'm trying to remember. Yes, we are still continuing the flashback. I remembered that much, but the big thing was that I feel I'm just thinking about what happened. Like more happened to it than I am remembering. Right? Maybe
No.
not.
No.
The big thing is just that Sanji and Brook go to meet with some bad guys, but then but one of the bad because they wanted to get Caesar Clown, and one of the bad guys is like, well, they did really help out, so we can't do this so I don't want to take them. As long as they give us Caesar Clown, that's great. But then he gets attacked, and then and I guess they're going to fight now. So that was basically the episode.
And something about Sanji never coming back. Remember that?
Yeah, something like that. I mean we know he isn't we know he's not we know something happened to him because he's not there in the present, and Nami gave some like I'm just realizing I don't think Nami or anyone has actually said in the present, hey, like a quick thing, hey, so this is what happened with Sanji. I know we're having the whole backstory flashback, but I kind of feel like maybe one of them could have just cut to the end point and said, this is the thing. Now I'm going to explain how we actually got up to that point. Because I don't remember anyone saying anything other than vague stuff about Sanji being gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yep. And this episode adapted about 2/3 of a chapter.
Yeah, it really felt like nothing much happened. I remember it being over way too quickly. So, yeah, that was One Piece.
Yeah. All right. So we move on to Yu Yu Hakusho episode. Actually, what was the episode we were on? 93. Episode 93. All right. So
Is this the one? Hold on a second. Is this the one called Sensui's End?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure I watched the right one.
Okay. Yes. And well, the title kind of spoils it. Remember, like the death of Genkai was the title of the episode, and I'm like, oh yeah, you could have like at least tried to keep that, maybe like a surprise. But yes, Yusuke, who has basically gotten taken over by that demon ancestors of his we found out about, does that, beats up Sensui pretty easily, then I guess leaves Yusuke, and Yusuke's upset because he wasn't the one to beat Sensui, so he wants Sensui to heal so they can go back and fight so Yusuke can actually be the one to beat him. And that ends up that's obviously not going to happen. Like, even if they wanted to, they couldn't heal him. So Sensui's just sort of a companion, just says, yeah, I'm not leaving him with you. His soul and body will just remain with me. So he just leaves. And then everyone decides, and Yusuke wants to search out his ancestor on the demon world, but Koenma says, "Now we'll have to save that for the next season. Like we don't have much time here before the portal close is, so we better get out of here." And Yusuke says, "Yep, okay, let's do that." So, yep, that's it. And I feel like each episode I want to just give some funny quip that Yusuke or someone else says. So for this one, he says, "If I kicked his butt, why do I still feel like he won?" Actually, he didn't use. He used a different word than butt, but
there was a better line where Kuwabara's like, he looks like his hair was just in an electric socket. and then Yusuke comes out of the spell he was under and he's like, wow, I look like I was just came out of the electric socket.
yeah.
And so that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I don't understand Yusuke's obsession that he can't kill anyone. Like, I mean, this guy's trying to wipe out humanity, and you're feeling bad that you killed him. Like, that doesn't make much sense.
I think Yusuke. Well, it's kind of weird because at first it seemed like Yusuke was just upset that he wasn't the one who got to defeat him. So, but then there were other parts where it seemed like Yusuke actually did kind of feel bad for him. So I don't know how all that worked together. It was fine, I thought, when it was just, Yusuke's being dumb because he wanted to be the one to win, and that's what he's upset about. Didn't that happen in Bleach at some point? Did like Ichigo get like taken control of by his hollow or something, and that beat an opponent, and and Ichigo was annoyed and wanted to like do the fight again or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Was that against Ulquiorra, or was it someone else?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the one that came to mind. So, yeah, I thought it was more of a thing like he didn't want to have killed him, and it's like, wow, he had only a month to live anyway. So, yeah. So, anyway, yeah. How many episodes are left? 20? 19?
Oh, let's see. There's one left of this arc is almost done. We've got one more to basically close everything up. And then the rest of it is we've got just trying to why can't I math for some reason right now? 17 after that, I think. So that'll be 18 episodes left.
Okay, I was pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, the final arc is definitely shorter than this and the Dark Tournament. The ending was kind of a bit rushed because the author he started having like some medical problems. It was just like, I just got to get this over with. So
is he the guy who did Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah, he did Hunter x Hunter after Yu Yu Hakusho.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So yeah, so that's Yu Yu Hakusho. There, we're almost at the end of this arc. I thought the episode was okay. It still just kind of feels like, I don't know. I feel like this whole thing could have been built up better because it really did feel like it just brought this in because they needed to come up with a way for Yusuke to win that he couldn't replicate. Like you couldn't easily replicate. Like you couldn't just go, oh, I got this super power up and now I can use it. Okay, here's a power up and you can only get to use it this one time because it was someone else doing it. So I think so it kind of felt like that. It felt like all this demon ancestry stuff was kind of revealed a bit too suddenly. Just to set this, maybe they could have done a little more setup earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, one more comment I would say. I do appreciate that we didn't get a big flashback when Sensui died. So many other series would do that, and it's like, nope, he's just dead. Although maybe we are going to get a big flashback in the next episode. I don't know. In fact, actually, I
Yeah,
wanted to mention
maybe.
something. I mentioned several times that I missed the conclusion of this fight because they changed the time and day it was airing on, so I missed it. And I think the last one, and this was the episode I know that I came back in. I know because I remembered like one bit something someone said in the episode. So basically, what happened was I stopped watching when they were still over in that cave fighting, and then when I came back in, I was just here, and they're like, "Well, Sensui's been defeated." And I was like, "Oh, I feel like I kind of missed some stuff here." All right, moving on. So now I've at least filled in that missing gap. Gnosia, episode 10.
Okay, so remember how we were trying to figure out whether Yuri was supposed to be a male or a female? Well, now we now we find out that she's now a female, or at least I don't know. But yeah, so Yuri is female in this new uh loop we're going through, and we have this thing where that one guy who doesn't want to get out of his room is causing a big problem, and he says he won't come out unless someone kisses him. So Yuri's like, "Well, I'm a female now, so I'll kiss you." And she goes in there, and then there's some sort of uh, goop that takes over the ship and is killing everyone in its path. But then Jonas finds a way to defeat it, and um, yeah, and basically Yuri comes away from it saying, "I want to come up with a solution where we can all live and survive happily on the ship." So we now have at least a real direction of where this is going, but we've got a while to get there. So, yeah, I thought this was I was pretty entertained by this episode. I didn't find myself dozing off like I sometimes do, but um, yeah, this one was pretty good. Um, it was a little uncomfortable with those romantic scenes, but overall, I thought it was a good episode.
Yeah. So, yep, we at least get confirmation that Yuri normally in the anime is not supposed to be seen as female. Now, like I said, there's several characters who they say don't have a gender, so maybe Yuri doesn't have that normally, but we at least know that Yuri is not a she normally because Yuri keeps talking about like, "Oh, wow, I'm not in a woman's body for some reason." So, yeah, it makes it seem like Yuri's just normally a guy then. So
Yeah.
there's all of that. Yeah, there were some funny bits here. I did like at the end where they managed to, because the plan originally was that Yuri and what was his name again? I'm looking at the description, just try to remember. It's Xiaoming. That was it.
Mm.
They're going to like be temporarily putting this thing so that they'll survive, and all the air will be just removed from the ship to kill the thing, because that was like the slime thing that attaches itself to Comet. But then but then that isn't necessary because the captain guy just turned on the heat to defeat it, and then he's just like sitting there like it's a sauna, and then Xiaoming just like complain, because I think Xiaoming admitted earlier he was a Gnosia, and he's just like so annoyed by how things resolved and just asked to be put into cold sleep.
Yeah.
This is like both of the times he's been a Gnosia. No, not the last time he was a Gnosia was when Yuri was a Gnosia, so it wasn't there. But he in two of like the Gnosia ones, he's just been like, yeah, I'm a Gnosia, I don't care. He's just like kind of dropped it. So yeah. That was a kind of fun episode.
Yeah.
It's called, the title is just kind of weird though, Citizen Slime. I just like had that. I kept like thinking, there's got to be some like Citizen Kane joke to make, but yeah, we're not going to bother with that. So we'll move on to, may I ask for one final thing, episode 10.
Okay, so we have a problem because the area they were in, which is like I forget what it's called, but they're surrounded by 4 other areas, and they're all kind of not friendly to them. So they get one of them, the prince or whatever of his country, and he agrees to help out after Scarlet punches him for no reason at all. And then these pigs come and attack, and Scarlet punches him, but he just puts his head back on. So he thinks he's won, and he asks him if he's ever heard of a game named Whack-A-Mole, because he then starts whacking his body all over to beat him up, and she's eventually able to do that with the help of the dragons that show up from that one prince guy's generous offer, and they're able to they were able to beat the pigs, and that's about where it ended.
I think they were called orcs. Was that it?
Yeah, they were just, but they were pigs too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And that was the episode basically. Okay, so that was the one with Whack-A-Mole. Now I remember it. So yeah, unfortunately I don't feel like I have too much to say about it. It just kind of was the usual stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got Spy Family episode 42. So Yor, when shopping, happens to meet this woman who Yor helps because after, fall, because she's able to stop her from falling and also save all of the shopping stuff she had. So that woman kind of brings Yor along with her to this meeting of other mothers at this sort of club they have, including playing this game of volleyball, which, Yor, because she's Yor, does really well for them with. Although they still somehow lose, and it didn't quite explain how that happened.
Well, it's because she kept breaking the rules. That was the problem. So
But
they kept losing.
I got
all those points she thought she made were actually illegal. So,
but yeah. I thought she stopped doing that after the first 2. So I don't know. But anyway, then we find out that she's actually the mother of Damien. So so there's that. And I mean, she still seems to be friends with Yor, so that works there. Twilight, of course, is thinking all about how we might be able to use this to our advantage. And then Anya gets worried because she's like, "Oh no! If that works, they might not meet need me. I need to get super good friends with Damien. So Becky comes up with this harebrained scheme that's clearly based on the anime trope of okay, where she said all you have to do is be running while holding some food in your mouth, and if you run against a boy, the two of you will fall in love. So, but that doesn't work. It ends up, and Anya accidentally ends up annoying Damien a lot with it. So, yeah, this was a funny episode, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting episode. I really like the scenes with Yor. I continue to maintain that she's the best character in this show, and she always provides stuff like this because she doesn't really know how to act amongst real people. So she's super awkward like this. I love the volleyball scenes. I kept thinking, that wouldn't be a point in real volleyball. And then then they said, you know what? You just broke the rules. I'm like, okay, so they do know volleyball. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Um, uh, I thought the Anya thing was kind of forced there at the end. It was like we gotta squeeze this in here, and it was went by way too quick, and they it was like they didn't have enough time for it, and they just tried to squeeze it in there in those last couple minutes. So I wasn't a big fan of that, but I thought it was a very good episode. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good episode. Solid one. I do like the fact you don't know until like halfway through the episode that that's Melinda Desmond, Damien's mother and Donovan's wife. So that was I think that worked slightly better in the manga because that was the chapter end, whereas here it's just, the halfway point, but still works. Still works. All right. And lastly, we've got My Hero Academia Vigilantes, episode 17. So basically, what happens is that we've now, right. Basically, Koichi, Eraserhead, and those two other guys who Eraserhead keeps like kind of annoying by asking for information from, end up having to all work together to take down this one guy who is what was it called? They keep saying the name, but I can't remember. Affected by like the thing, the I don't know, whatever. They have to fight the guy, and basically the whole episode is more or less them working together to do that, and then they manage to, and well, actually at the end, that other I think Miss Villain does it, takes him out, but then has to leave, so they just find the guy defeated, and that's that's basically the episode.
Yeah, this was a rather boring episode. There wasn't really much to it. Again, there's no Knuckle Guster, so I'm still not convinced he's even alive. And uh, yeah, uh, yeah, I don't see. Oh yeah, this was what I'm wondering. Like, Hop Step. All this time, I was thinking, oh, she's the age of Koichi. They're near the same age. But then this episode, they're saying something about middle school. So I'm like, so Koichi is now living with like a 14-year-old girl? Like, isn't that kind of awkward? Um, I don't know. That just seems kind of creepy to me. So, yeah. Overall, not a great episode. A kind of forgettable one.
Let me actually. That's a good question. What was her age? Um, let's see. Doesn't what's it say on her My Hero Academia wiki page? Um, let's see. I'm not sure. I think she does say middle school. So yeah, because that's the point she makes, because she says since their school is middle and high school, you don't have to do the exam stuff to try to apply to high school, which is a thing in Japan, which is like that's like so unimaginable to me that you would have to like take exams and actually apply to high schools to get into them. Like for me, it's just like, okay, do you live in this place? You go to that high school. It was just that. But apparently, at least based on anime, that's like a major thing in Japan. When you're in middle school, you actually will try to apply to high schools to get in the way people apply to colleges in the US.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do wonder how old she was, because high school in the US, at least where I live, and I think most places, is 4 years. It's 3 years in Japan. I know that much. So she might be like a ninth grader, which would be a high schooler here. But yeah, you're right. That would be younger. I don't know. I just assumed that she was older, but yeah, I didn't think about that until you mentioned it.
Yeah. That was really weird to me because I'm thinking, wait a minute, isn't there supposed to be I mean, come on, you know there's supposed to be a romance between her and Koichi, but it's kind of awkward if he's in college and she's in middle school. Or that just doesn't sound right to me. So yeah, the episode wasn't good enough to excuse that either. So um, yep.
Okay. Uh, Yeah, that was the thing. I feel like I enjoyed it when I watched it, but then when I was describing what happened, I was like thinking, "Oh yeah, basically the whole thing was them just fighting against this like nameless goober, wasn't it?"
Yeah.
Like, did we actually find? Is there even a name for this guy? Hang on, I need to look um this up. Is there like an actual name for that guy they were fighting? Let's see. We're here. I'm just looking in the wiki. These things are kind of useful, but oh, okay. It is. It does have a name, Octoid. That's it. I thought I didn't know that was like the name of it. I thought that I remember that from the episode, but I thought someone that was like supposed to be a description, not like an actual name. But okay, so I guess we get that then. So yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, they do have a name. They do have a name, like an actual name. We find that out. I'm looking at this, but we don't know it yet. All right, so they actually have, I guess, some enough importance to get a name. So that's something. Anyway, I don't have anything else to really say about that. So I guess it brings us to the end of the discussion of the stuff we watch, and we can give our picks for our favorites.
Yeah, so while it may have sounded like I had picked Spy Family, I did not pick Spy Family. I picked Gnosia for the third time in the last 4 weeks. Blue Exorcist threw everything at me really fast, so I was like, yeah, that beats out Bleach this week. So same as last week, Blue Exorcist and Gnosia. And maybe for this week only, the best girl, well, it has to be Yuri because she was a girl this week. So she qualifies as a best girl. So, yes, Yuri is best girl for this week.
All right. Well, for me, For the Toonami series, I think I'll just say Bleach. For the non-Toonami ones, it'll be Spy Family.
Okay, that's my second pick in each category. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Anything else to talk about?
Um, well, let's see. I kind of put my Sailor Moon thing on pause for the Winter Olympics because I'm kind of obsessed with the Olympics, so um, I don't really have time to watch it. I did watch another one or two episodes of Solo Leveling. That continues to be pretty. It was actually pretty entertaining. Some things about it don't make any sense to me though. Like the I just don't understand like is this world that they go into to these caves and stuff is this for real or is this just like a video game simulation? Like it I can't figure because like they have like real world where people have jobs and people have hospitals and that kind of stuff and then you've got this magic world where people go into and it's like well if you can do these things in the underground world, why can't you do them in the real world? I'm really confused about that.
Oh, you can.
You can.
You can do them in the real world, I
Oh,
think.
really?
Yes. The way the series worked, and I think they explained it at the start, but that could be one of those things where you know where they explain something, but then you forget about it.
Yeah.
The how it works, as I remember, is basically these portals started just opening up, and they led to these different dungeons. They always call them dungeons and stuff in there, and conveniently people started to develop like these special the powers that they have in the show, which you can then use those to like go in there and fight the enemies and get stuff out of them because there's a lot of useful stuff in them. So yeah, they do have those powers in real life.
Okay. Okay, so that's why the one girl, Cha, I think her name is, was like running laps around a track and uh physically warming herself up because she's apparently a really good hunter, I think. So, yeah, I don't know enough about her yet, except for what I've been spoiled on, which is pretty much everything. So I don't know anything about her except that I do know everything about her. So I know everything because it's so easy. You type her name in Google, and boom, within seconds, you already know the plot of the entire show. So, yeah. So I only knew this show because I saw a pop figure of hers, and I was like, well, this character looks interesting. What show's she from? And then I'm like, okay, I'll just watch this show. And but whenever putting her name in there, it spoiled everything. So yeah, so I don't know anything about her at the same time I know everything about her. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Yeah, I don't have anything really new to add. I did start playing uh through like I mentioned Fate Hollow Ataraxia, the sort of sequel to Fate Stay Night. Not too, I haven't gotten too far in it. Not that much has actually happened yet. In fact, actually a bunch of it's kind of weird because some parts of it have been kind of boring and some stuff I liked. I mean, it's just like, oh, you're focusing on all these characters from the original like series that I know showed up, but I don't remember a single thing about. Like some of the classmates at school, I'm like, I mean, that's okay, but I just think it's more funny to see stuff like Castor complaining about how Assassin won't, like, sweep the temple. That kind of stuff is really funny. But some stuff is happening, and I think the plot is I did get a bad end. I don't know if I was supposed to or not, because I know there's like stuff because there's like loop stuff that happens in it. So I don't know if I goofed up and got it, and then it just brought me back, and that was required to happen or not. I don't know yet. We'll see if I get a chance to play it some more. But I just wanted to mention that. All right. Without further ado, I guess that's everything. So we'll see you all next week. We will have Tokyo Revengers and Blue Lock, and everything else will be basically the same, I think. So, yeah, I got nothing else. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Finishing move. Take this. Rooster Fighter, new series premieres Saturday, March 14th at midnight. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. Flash.